control. Breach in 5, 4, 3.
What's up, guys? It's Uncle Freedom coming to you on another glorious and well-deserved day off. We'll start off with the fact that I know I sound like crap. The weather's changing. It's harvest season. We've got dust everywhere. Allergies are, well, they suck. So that's where we're at. So today, we're going to get back onto that preparation mindset, that great gravy train that we were doing with the Uncomfortable Prepping Truths videos that you guys have liked so much and asked me for. But today, we're going to look at one that was specifically asked for, and that is some Bugout Bags Uncomfortable Truth. So if that sounds fun and interesting to you, go ahead, like, subscribe, tell a friend. If you need to get in touch with me, you can find me on Instagram or Facebook at Uncle Freedom 213. You can also get in touch with me directly, Uncle Freedom 213 at outlook.com. On the Facebook and Instagram page, I have Linktree accounts on each one of them that links you to some of the affiliates of the channel. People like CNH Precision, Tyrant CNC, Cold Tack, Warren, Gun Mag Warehouse. So if it's something you were planning on doing anyway, follow those links. Every bit helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it, guys. So let's get going on this. First and foremost, when we talk about Bugout bags, failing to plan is absolutely planning to fail. It's kind of a cliche, and everybody's heard it at some point, but it is so true in this regard, because where are you going? There's a lot of stuff to be said with that. Do you have to cross rivers? Do you have to cross a lake? Do you have to get around a lake? Are you expected to pass through or around population centers? Are you going to go through climate changes where you're going to go to a very arid area that has no water? Are you going to climb over a mountain range to get where you're going? These are planning questions you have to ask before you start. So failing to plan is planning to fail. I see people with Bugout bags all the time. They have the kitchen sink in the damn thing. And if you ask them the route for where they're going, they didn't plan it at all. So failing to plan, planning to fail. So let's get really into this list. Number one, I have a 130-pound Bugout bag. There is absolutely zero chance and zero way for you to prepare for every possible eventuality once you leave and start on your trek. We need to understand what Bugout bags are first and foremost, guys. First and foremost, Bugout bags are a short-term solution to get you from a point A where it's dangerous to point B where you will be more safe. If you don't already have a point B, you are not bugging out anywhere. You're just walking to a random place. You have no goal. That's dangerous shit. So have a place that you're supposed to go and be prepared as you can based upon your planned route, excuse me, to get where you're going. So plan that stuff out and work your way through it. Number two, I've got all my stuff. Ultralight hiking packs in ultralight backpacks are not bugging out. They're not even close to the same thing. They do have some overlap, but they are nowhere near the same mindset. So get it out of your head that you're going to run all of your super high speed, like Stone, or was it Stone Glacier or whatever stuff that's super high end and ultra lightweight, because that's how you're going to do it. Ultralight hiking, backpacking, through hiking are nowhere near the same thing as bugging out. They have very different contexts and connotations between the two of them. There is overlap for gear, but they are not the same thing. Number three, this one just makes me cringe. I have a Rush 72 511. That's my Bugout bag. Dude, those things suck. Like, I will say that the Rush line of backpacks, the Rush 24, 48, those are really cool. Or was it Rush? Yeah, a Rush 24, Rush 12, Rush 72. I have a Rush 24, and I love the bag, but it's not a Bugout bag. When we start talking about bugging out, we're talking about carrying weight for long distances. A 511 Rush 72 bag is not going to have the support that you need, the adjustability that you will need, and the load carrying capability that you will need to comfortably and safely carry a load for an extremely long distance without just smoking you. You have to have a good freaking bag. When I say a good bag, Everly Stock, Mystery Ranch, you're going to spend money to get these. And I'm sorry to tell you this, a Rush 72 is not the answer to that question. Number 4, water is extremely heavy, and you are going to need a lot more of it than you think. I know, you've got streams and whatever. Okay. You can contaminate those things to a level that a filter won't work pretty easily. And considering that you're leaving an area that you're very familiar with and you're walking through an area that you're not as familiar with to get to a secondary location where you can be safe, you don't know that you can trust these things. Also, who said that when you get there, it's not going, you're going to be able to have it? Also, newsflash, I hate to kind of like bang this into you, but where water is frequently at, that's where people and animals congregate. So if I were to be a bad guy and I were looking for people in which to loot as they were trying to get away from whatever crap situation we've gotten ourselves into now because we are failing miserably at protecting our country, I would be watching a watering hole of some kind because I know that's where people are going to have to go. So it's not as easy as just filtering out your water. Water's heavy and you need to carry more of it. A good example of this is depending on where you live at and the terrain at which you plan to traverse, we're not talking about a liter of water a day. We're talking gallons of water a day. Like a good standard would be a gallon of water a day. Water is about over 8 pounds a gallon. If you knew you were going to have a 3-day trek, you might be taking 20 plus pounds of water, and that's just your starting point. You're still going to have more. People underestimate how much water they'll consume and how dehydrated they'll get all the time, and it takes you out of the game. You're going to need more water than you think, and it's also very heavy, so plan accordingly. Number 5, you have your bug out bag. Outstanding. You are more prepared than 99% of the population, but you have 2 kids, a dog, and a wife. Are you going to carry it all? Or what's your plan? Your kids have to have a bag too. Not to the extent you have, but your kids need to be able to carry some of their own stuff. You and your wife can divvy it out so that the ammo and stuff is split up between each other so that you're carrying the load. But you also have to keep in mind that if something really went wrong and you ditched to be lighter on your feet, you're probably going to ditch with one bag. So everything you have to have essential to life that's critical to your survival has to be in that bag and can't be split up amongst 4. That's not how this works. Number 6. It's cool. I'm just going to hunt and trap. I've been doing that my whole life. We're good. Uh-huh. You know how many times I've been skunked on a hunting trip? You know how many times I've not even seen a deer? Could you hunt? Yeah, absolutely. Could you get lucky? Yep. But you're also going to leave behind a bunch of trace that tells people you were there. There's no way you can take the whole thing with you. You also can't preserve it because you're bugging out. You need to actually carry food. You're not going to just hunt. That's all. That's crap. You're not going to just hunt and trap to get your food. I know more hunters that get skunked every year than are successful. You have to carry food. Number 7. I can stretch that 1 MRE and my 3 Cliff Bars for a week if I need to. Here's a warning sign for you. That sucks. Everybody's been hungry before. Those people that lived in the reconnaissance and infantry world have been hungrier than most because, well, it's heavy to carry food. So we elected to go minimalistic and only carry what we thought we would need. Here's something I will let you in on a little secret. As your calorie surplus depletes and you are exerting overly normal amounts of exertion, which is what would be happening if we were covering a long distance in a bug out situation, you are going to just absolutely burn through calories. Same thing with water. You are going to just roll through them. If you do not have a constant means at which to keep your caloric intake up with good stuff that you need, carbs, proteins, and stuff like that, the muscles will break down. You will suffer more cramps. You could even get debilitating problems where you can't walk because of a cramp. You have to carry food. Is it possible for you to go 2 weeks while doing exertion without food? Yeah, probably. And for a lot of the people in this country that are more concerned with where their next Big Mac comes from, I don't wear plates because it'll slow me down, guy, with The only plate that he could actually, wear would be the front windshield out of a Humvee because he's so freaking big. That's not how this works. Without calories on deck that you can get to and keep your energy up and your morale up, you will start slowing down, making your trip longer, meaning you have more opportunities to get clapped by Bubba down the street with his SKS. You got to carry food. You're not going to make it last. It's not how that works. I spent a lot of time in the field, in the military, in the real world, in my civilian life as a hunter. I have spent weeks, months in the field. And I will tell you, not carrying enough food sucks. Number 8. My plan is to bug out, and I've got my bag and my armor, and this is what I'm going to do. You've never rucked with armor, have you? It sucks, man. Like, it is awful. It impedes your breathing. It's uncomfortable. It's heavy as hell. Also, most backpacks aren't designed to work with body armor. They're just not. That's one of the big reasons that the U.S. military went away from the Alice Pack, which sucks because the Alice Pack is amazing. But one of the reasons we switched over to the Molly and the frame being different is it was designed around you wearing it with body armor. That makes a big difference. Your Rush, your 511 Rush 72 pack that weighs 64 pounds with absolutely zero freaking internal support and a terrible non-adjustable strap and yoking system with a really awful or obsolete waist belt, non-existent waist belt, is not going to work the way you think it does with body armor on. It's not going to happen. If you think I'm playing, or you think I'm kidding, or maybe you just think I'm full of crap, put your armor on and go for a hike. I don't mean a 1 mile hike. I mean, let's go cover 15 or 16 miles. Force the issue, make yourself walk with that on. I guarantee you start losing crap pretty soon. It doesn't work the way you think it does, and it sucks to do it. Number 9. Ammo weighs a lot more than you think. Yes, there is some argument that you do need ammo. I agree with that 100%. And I think you should take as much as you can efficiently carry. 10,000 rounds of ammo at your house, if you have to leave, you're not taking that with you. Also, you can't eat bullets. I mean, we'll leave that alone, YouTube. You can't eat those. They're not sustenance. You could technically use them to turn them into food if you can harvest an animal. But again, now we're drawing attention to ourselves. We're making noise. We're leaving a trace that can be followed for us to be caught to begin with. Again, bugging out is meaning something's gone terribly wrong. So ammo is heavy and it's cumbersome and it takes up space. And if you've got a shotgun, a bolt gun, your AR, and your handgun, if you carry 50 rounds for your shotgun, that's a large chunk of space. Same deal with your rifle. If you've got, 1,000 rounds for your rifle, that's a case. Right? That's a ball like this. And then if we said we had 500 rounds of 9mm, that's a ball like this. And I have news for you. We're talking in the teens, 20 plus pounds of ammo, 40 pounds of ammo for each one of these. You're not going to do as much as you think. You're not carrying all that ammo. And number 10, weather, the environment, time, distance, trajectory of travel, and the general population of areas you will move through have a vote in how your bug out goes. Just because you planned it all out doesn't mean it's going to work. That's why you have to use PACE when you plan. PACE is an acronym: primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. You should have all of those planned out. Because in a perfect world, primary always works, but Murphy gets a vote. So does the weather. So does this. You might get to a place where you can't go. What if there's a forest fire and now you're making a detour 50 miles to get around this forest that you were going to walk straight through? What if you had a cache in those woods? Now you can't access it because of a natural situation, or that there are people there. You are not the only person out doing anything. You have to be able to plan and pivot between your 4 planning models in order for you to achieve your ultimate goal. Again, fail to plan, plan to fail. Primary, alternate, contingency, an emergency plan. You have to have that done. You're not alone in this world. You're not going to just John Wick it. You're not going to put that guy down because he was near your cache. That's not how this works. That's even in a place without rule of law. You don't think that dude might not have friends, or maybe the community you just stumbled into, that they may not take exception to what you just did, you're liable to face a firing squad in a world without law. You have to plan this stuff out. It's not going to go the way you think it does. When we look at primary, alternate contingency, emergency, we think about things like navigation, right? Well, your GPS, which is great, except for the fact that if we had a problem with the government, they can now track your GPS, which means you just are wearing a homing beacon. Not always a good idea. Can you read maps? Okay, you can read like an atlas map. Can you read a topographical map? Can you terrain associate, find direction on your own without a compass, with a compass, map a route with a protractor? These are skills you should have before you go bug out somewhere. Because 60 miles into your trek, when you have to make a deviation in your actual trek, and you have no idea how to terrain associate or plot on a map or read the contour lines to know you're walking up on a vertical freaking cliff, or a depression that you're going to have to go down and up through with a massive elevation change, because you didn't take the time to plan those things out accordingly, you will die. And some bonus material for you guys today: things that are multifunctional conserve weight. Think to yourself, like a dry bag, for example. It keeps your stuff dry in your bag, but if you have a really good one and you were smart and spent your money on decent equipment, you can now collect water in that bag, because if it keeps water out, it will obviously keep water in. You can stone boil. You can use it as a bear hang. You can use it for all kinds of stuff that's not just keeping your stuff dry in your backpack. Think your bush pot, your bottle and canteen cup. You can collect items with those, purify water with those, cook in those, make char cloth in those. You have options. Heating them, putting hot water in them and stuffing them inside of your bivy sack with you while you're asleep is a warmth generation system, and it will help you keep your core temperature regulated. Multi-purpose items are going to save you weight and time. And last but not least, well, actually, two things. Headlamps. Flashlights are great. Headlamps are better. Headlamps are also better, but they need to have a red light. Your white light is awesome, and I'm super glad you can see where you're going. But everybody else can see your white light too, which goes to that whole stealth thing, which we will be covering in volume 2 of this video, to be recorded actually today. There's so many good points I had to make too. Last but not least, and most important on this list to me, is knowledge is lightweight. You can carry a lot of it and it won't weigh you down. There is absolutely zero substitute in gear. A guy that has knowledge of how to work with what he has and make it work and use the environment to bolster what he carries on him is going to be far more successful than the dude that has to have a gadget or a gizmo to perform a very specific task because they have no freaking clue how to do it on their own. Knowledge doesn't weigh anything, and it will get you out of most situations. Do more with less. Making fires, building traps, collecting food, knowing what you can eat without having to carry the book, knowing that you can build a shelter and then bolster that shelter's effectiveness with your poncho is going to mean you don't have to carry some of the other stuff because you have that ability. Not to mention, knowing how to do these things conserves your resources. So if your trip takes longer, you're not just screwed because you used up all of your Bic lighter. Understanding how to do more with less will conserve and extend your resources you've got in your bag, because that's a finite amount of stuff. You don't get any more once you leave. Hunting can supplement the food you have. You kill a couple of squirrels, great. Now you don't have to eat that MRE tonight. You can have fresh meat. Knowing how to do these things, to make a Dakota fire hole, to make a smokeless fire, knowing how to do these things, that knowledge extends your capabilities, makes you much safer, more viable, and increases your likelihood of getting where you're going. So guys, that was Bugout Bag's Uncomfortable Truths Volume 1. Volume 2 to be recorded today. Hope you guys enjoy it. Again, like, subscribe, tell a friend. Let me know what you want to see. I have Uncomfortable Prepping Truths Volume 3 and 4 being recorded as well. We're going to have a great time with this, and I'm going to talk about some stuff considering current events, and kind of my view on what you should do as a prepared individual. So guys, I'm Uncle Freedom. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Till next time. I'll see you later.